Welcome to the quick guide video on reflection. In this video, we will review why reflection is important, how reflection and feedback serve unique purposes, and I'll share some examples and then think about next steps you can use to strengthen reflection in your program. So hopefully these images are familiar to you. These represent both the Youth Program Quality Assessment, or YPQA, and the Social Emotional Learning Program Quality Assessment, the SELPQA. Both of these frameworks provide our network a shared language to use as we learn, discuss, and plan for high-quality programs. As you can see, today's topic on reflection has its own scale in the YPQA. And while it isn't called out explicitly in the SELPQA, if you look into the number of the scales, there are items that include staff asking questions that support young people to think about, reflect, and make connections. The most connected places are marked here. Why is reflection such a big deal? Reflection creates a deeper form of learning by helping us retain important aspects of our experiences, gain new perspectives, process our thoughts and emotions, and learn from what has happened. It allows us to evaluate our learning, understand our emotions, assess our behaviors, and identify areas for personal growth and improvement. Here we have it laid out even more specifically. Reflection helps people connect experiences to feelings and to process what they learned. Making that connection is what can make an activity into a more meaningful opportunity. It also fosters evaluative and critical thinking skills, where they share their opinions and thoughts and have an opportunity to hear other perspectives as well. When we talk about growth mindset, we're talking about the ability to reframe something that isn't going how we had hoped, or what could be considered as a failure, and instead recognizing the opportunity to learn and grow. Building reflection skills help work that muscle that is useful all the way into adulthood. And reflection helps build connections and relationships with your young people. Asking what young people think and what is important to them gives you a bit of insight and lets them know you value their thoughts and feelings. We're often used to doing reflection at the end of the day or the session, but it can actually happen anytime or multiple times throughout your time together. It's helpful to think about intentionally creating time for reflection during or immediately after a specific event or activity. For example, if your program has free choice time as young people are coming in, and then you have a large group activity where you're all working together, and then maybe back in the gym at the end of your time as parents are picking up, they have some free time, it'd be most helpful to have the reflection after the large group activity and not in the gym when they're running around or being ready to go home. If you really want to help young people to make the connection from that activity experience, and then make that connection with what they know about themselves. Not that it's wrong to do it at the end, but be intentional in planning why and how you'll create that space for reflection. Reflecting on that activity can include opportunities to talk about what they've done, how they feel, how that experience informs future experiences, whether it's at school or home and community, and it allows them to share their progress or accomplishments, what they're proud of. And we know that reflection can look a lot of different ways. Oftentimes, we'll do reflection as a large group, which can work really well. But if you have some young people who maybe aren't ready to talk or maybe nervous about talking, have a turn and talk or a think, pair, share is a great way for everyone to have an opportunity to reflect, even if they're not talking to the large group. But that doesn't meet everyone's learning style. Some people enjoy writing or drawing to be able to reflect, or maybe a movement exercise where they're moving their body to answer whether they agree or disagree or how they felt it connected with them, or creating a presentation to share out. There's a lot of different ways to create reflection, either individually or within the group. Sometimes people lump reflection and feedback together, and sometimes they can be. What makes feedback different is it relates to how youth liked the experience. Its goal is to give the staff information that can help for future planning. It also models that even adults want to learn and adjust, and that we value young people's thoughts. During reflection, it's great to think about intentionally including questions that help you learn about what you liked about the experience so you can adjust for the future. This young person is demonstrating a time-tested quick feedback loop where staff might ask for a thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs sideways. With a quick glance, you can get a read of the room about their overall satisfaction. But sometimes that isn't enough. Asking a couple of questions helps you find out more. If they have a thumbs up, what did they like about the activity? Not just to do the activity again, but to know how to incorporate those same elements into other activities and build up the experiences they enjoy. Or maybe it's a thumbs down. Knowing what about it they disliked may mean a few adjustments and the activity becomes a favorite. Maybe it's adjusting the challenge level, or supplies, or timing. Similar to what we shared before, there are multiple ways to gather feedback from young people. Being intentional at taking the time to ask reflective questions is great, and the more you do it, the more it becomes second nature. When building a reflection practice, creating questions ahead of time is really helpful, but after a while, it just becomes part of what you do. Here are two examples of how some people think about the structure for the reflection time. The first is ORID. The ORID method is one example of how you can structure a progression of couple questions to really make an impactful reflection. These are just some generic examples. First, with the O is what did you observe? What did you notice about the activity? What stood out to you? The R is being reflective and thinking about that feeling. How did you feel to participate in the activity? I would be interpretive, kind of like what did they learn? What new ideas, experiences, or learning happened? How might that apply to other spaces that they're in or other activities that they do? And the last is D, decisional. That's the do. What does that mean for you? How might what you did, whether you learned, what your experiences were, be useful in the future? You'll notice along the side there, there's also this second example. What, so what, now what? What did you do? What does that mean for you? And what does that mean moving forward? So both of these are examples of how you could structure your questions and make them meaningful moving forward. Even if you don't come in with prepared questions, think about that formula. Here are some examples that you may have used or seen in other programs. So we talked about the intentional questions that you might come together, these prompts. You could use the ORID method or the what, so what, now what. But you could also do a four corners or spectrum activity where you ask questions, whether it's getting feedback about how they thought about it or what they learned, or putting them in the areas where they can talk together about what it was that they agreed on or what they strongly disagreed about, and then sharing that to the group. That think, pair, share, again, is a process that allows them to take the time to think about those questions asked, what it means to them, share it with someone else, and then bring that to the larger group. Some very common, like rosebud thorn, is a way to think about what was exciting, what did you really enjoy, what's a thorn or something that was challenging, maybe the bud, something you're looking forward to. Similar is I like, I wish, I wonder. What did you like about it? What did you wish would have happened about it? What do you wonder or questions you have? Exit tickets, if you wanted for folks to write out or draw a picture of what their takeaway was, what their reflection was, what their feedback was, might also be a strategy to use with your questions. We know the thumbs up, thumbs down, some sideways. Again, encourage you to think about how to go a little deeper with those. Same with the fist of five, it gives you some really quick feedback, but doesn't really give you the thoughts behind it. And so asking some additional questions is helpful. And then we know like emojis or other types of visuals that help for people to articulate what it is that they're thinking or feeling. So what is next? First, you can download and reflect with the reflection worksheet that has questions that help you think about what this content means for you and specifically with your program. Or let's model the what, so what, now what. Ask and think about what stood out to you from this video. What was new? What reinforced what you already know? So what does that mean for you? What are you already doing in your program that you want to celebrate? How would strengthening reflection impact your young people? And then now what? Those are the next steps, right? What's an upcoming activity you can intentionally reflect on during or after the activity? It could be a gym activity, thinking about their strategy. It could be a craft activity where they're building something. What questions will you ask? And how will you lead that reflection? So that's it. Reflection is important, and making sure that you're taking the time and intentionally thinking about embedding reflection into your programs and your activities is a great next step to strengthening quality in your program.